Good morning! Day 1 for AN. I am the first one in line, as you can probably see. This is where we enter from. I'm the first one here. So this is kind of strange. This is probably very rare for AN to be kind of cold and windy. As you can see, I'm wearing a jacket. Normally AN is actually really hot. Like last year, it was like blazing hot. It was really hot, and it didn't help that they had trouble opening the door. So we're basically standing out here under the blazing hot sun for an extra hour. So it's very different that it's kind of cold this year. So hopefully the situation inside Artist Alley itself is going to be a little bit cooler, hopefully. Although I brought my fan just in case, and I'm wearing a t-shirt underneath here. So, and if you can hear a lot of background noise, it's because the convention center is near an airport, so there's constantly planes coming in and out of the area. So if you hear any like really loud sounds flying above, it's from the airplanes. But yeah, I'm the first one here. It's like a little past 10:30 now. The doors open at 12, so yeah, I'm a little early, but I don't mind because, especially since the weather, even though it is colder, I feel like it's tolerable. Whereas I would rather stand in somewhat colder climate weather than the blazing hot sun. So this is a nice change. But yeah, I'm just gonna, just stand around, wait for other people to come because so far I'm the only one here, so I got no one to chill with. All right, so the next shot you're probably gonna see me entering the actual convention and then set up. So I'm all set up now, so it's just a matter of just waiting until doors open. I think we have about 2-ish hours left. But yeah, I basically just took some time to eat something because I don't think I'm gonna eat anything when the doors close at around 10 o'clock. It's gonna be too late. I'm gonna be like, oh, I just want to go to bed. But funny thing happened just now. I already lost a thing, I think. But thankfully it's something that it's not that valuable. Like I don't care if it goes missing or not, but I cannot find the mallet I used to build my display with the cubes, because when you get these cubes it comes with like a little hammer to help push the connectors in all the way, but don't know where it went. So either someone took it or I misplaced it. Either way, it's replaceable, it's whatever. But that's just like a little silly thing that happens. Just like, wow, the event didn't even start and I already lost a thing. I will say it feels really open, and what I mean by that is that I'm a corner table. When corner tables tend to be the tables that people mostly want because it's easy to get in and out, right? For both setting up, but also just to like if you need to use the washroom or whatever. But because it's so open, it does feel a little bit vulnerable because there's not really anything to protect you on your whatever side it's open. So I'm a little concerned that okay, I gotta make sure no one tries to like swipe anything, because it's very easy to just kind of like stand close and just kind of like slip your hand and try to like take something. So it's something I'm gonna be a bit more vigilant about. So, but I don't think anyone's gonna steal anything. But if my mallet was able to go missing, maybe I should be a little bit more mindful. So either way, hopefully the weekend is okay. Like I said, it's kind of cold, but hopefully the space within here doesn't get too hot because it's cold outside. So hopefully there's going to be a good air circulation, so it's going to be relatively cool. It is different having to wear a long sleeve, not wearing a short sleeve and having to need the fan. I bought it just in case, but so far I'm pretty cozy. If anything, I'm actually a little bit chilly, so I might have to use my jacket to keep myself warm. But yeah, about 2 hours left, and we'll just see how the rest of the day goes for day 1. Probably crazy right now, but I just got home, showered, and I'm just gonna do a quick debrief instead of just doing it tomorrow morning because change of scenery. I feel like I don't want to keep doing the same setup. But basically, a lot of stuff happened. In terms of sales, I did really well. I was kind of surprised because so the area that I ended up being in, we affectionately call it the Shadow Realm because it's on the other side of guest tables. So basically, the way Artist Alley is set up is that you have, all your tables, but then part of it is kind of like dissected by guest tables. So there's basically big, giant, like curtain wall barriers that kind of cut through Artist Alley. So that's why we call the other side the Shadow Realm, because it's a little, you don't really notice it when you first walk in. But even though I was in a less ideal place this year, I would say I still made a little bit more than I did on Friday last year. So it seems like even though I am in a place that doesn't seem ideal, it's actually not that bad at all. I would say my best sellers today, surprisingly, I did not expect this at all, are my Kero Gunso keychains. I'm very surprised by how many people came by to buy them, and like there was quite a few people that actually like wanted the whole set as well. I was like, whoa, okay. I'm so glad I brought 10 of them, because originally I was only gonna bring 5 for the whole weekend because I didn't know how well I was gonna do, because it's a rather older anime, even though it is getting a new season supposedly this year, or we may announce it next year, but being announced this year and then it's gonna come out next year. I don't know how it's gonna be, but given that it's not a mainstream anime, I would say it's pretty like old, but I think it's one of those series where it has a very fervent following. So I think, you know, since it's not mainstream, it's kind of rare to see in Artist Alley. So the fact that people see it in Artist Alley, it kind of pops up to you, because whoa, it's like I never see Sergeant Frog stuff in Artist Alley, so this is great. So that probably just gets people really excited to see stuff for it. But I'm still worried, because I feel like if I'm already almost pretty much I'm pretty much half of my stock for them for Friday, I'm worried that I might sell out tomorrow. But I mean, it's better to sell out than to bring too much, so I'm actually really happy about that. The next keychain that I'm selling really well, I'm not surprised by it, is Sifrin from In Stars and Time. I'm not too surprised by that, given that the creator recently just announced that, hey, you guys can sell fan merch now, and I'm actually like, whoa! So I definitely took advantage of that, and I bought quite a bit just because I know Sifrin is really popular. I was kind of sad because no one bought Isabeau yet, but it's okay. I'm sure someone will hopefully buy him tomorrow. But yeah, Sifrin is very popular. I'm nearly halfway through my stock of him for today as well, so I'm hoping he'll stay in stock for at least until the end of tomorrow. Otherwise, poor people who were looking forward to getting on Sunday are probably gonna out of luck for that. Oh, I messed up a little during the first, like literally the first hour of Artist Alley. So basically what happened was, you know, in the first hour, it's kind of like, you're kind of like getting ready, but you know, people are still filing in and people are still trying to find the tables they want to go out, or people usually just start from the entrance and then they make their way through. So I don't know what happened, but I looked down at my lanyard that was attached to my artist badge, and my artist badge was not there anymore. And I'm like, where did it go? So I'm looking around, I'm looking at the ground, looking through my luggage, maybe it fell through somewhere. Still don't know how it fell out. Maybe while I was packing stuff, maybe somehow it yanked and ended up inside of someone's, I don't know, purchase or whatever. I have no idea where it went, but it must have come out somehow. Maybe, I literally don't know. And I couldn't tell you like at what point it was there and then when it wasn't there. It's literally like I blinked and it wasn't there. So I had to go all the way to the Artist Alley or exhibitor info table to get a replacement, which was $70, which kind of sucks, but it's okay. I made that money back in like the next few purchases, so it's like whatever. I made more than table back. Like I said, I did a little bit better than I did last year on Friday for this year. So I'm not that too bummed about losing out the $70, and it was my fault as well. So like it was just kind of like, oh, okay, gotta be more careful this time. Fine, I won't put on the lanyard. I'll keep it with the flimsy ass string that they gave us. Like, look at this. Look at this. And you're telling me this is more secure than a lanyard? Really? Okay. So I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna protect this with my life because I don't want to spend that $70 to replace this because I'm careless. Another sad thing. When I was getting my replacement badge, I left my phone and my selfie stick at the table. And I was the moment I go back to my table, I'm like, where's my phone and selfie stick? Oh right, I left it at the... So I went back to get it.
It's funny because the coordinator, I literally missed her because she was on her way to give it back to me and I missed her. So I was at the table and she wasn't there. And they're like, oh, she literally left to look for you. And I'm like, I don't know why it would happen in that hour. That hour, I just like clearly was so just absent-minded and like scatterbrained, but like I was okay for the rest of the day, but like just something within that hour, just like my brain was just like gone. Anyway, it's fine. I have my phone and my selfie stick. Otherwise, how would I be recording this? And then, but another unfortunate thing that happened, not really unfortunate, it's not a big deal, but it's one of those things where it's kind of like, God damn it. Don't you hate it when like things like slip, like literally something happened while you were gone and then you come back and you're like, great, I literally wouldn't have missed it if I didn't lose my badge and I was here the whole time. Basically what happened was, apparently there was a Particio cosplayer that was going around and all my friends that saw him did not take a photo of him. I'm not blaming them for not taking a photo. They're not obligated to if they don't want to. But I'm just saying all the people that apparently saw him did not take a photo of him, and I'm very sad because I was there the whole time for the rest of the day and he did not come back. So I'm really hoping he's still cosplaying him for the rest of the weekend because he had a weekend badge and he also put Particio as his name. So hopefully, I'm really hoping that he comes back tomorrow. I literally message a few people to be like, hey, can you guys just like keep a lookout for this guy because I really want to see a photo of him. He doesn't even have to come to my table. Like, it's fine. You don't have to come to my table. I just want to see a photo of him. That's it. Okay? And I know that it probably sounds like I'm being extreme or excessive, but it's just that Octopath Traveler is one of those franchises that doesn't get a lot of cosplayers, at least from what I've experienced in like Toronto and Canada. So any cosplayer of him, of any character is so rare, and it's like crumbs. Like I just want these crumbs of cosplayers. Like, come to me, I want to take a picture of you. So I'm really hoping he comes back tomorrow. If not, I'm probably gonna be sad for the rest of the weekend. I'm just kidding. I'm just exaggerating. But I'm really hoping he comes back because it would put a really big smile on my face. I kind of wish I didn't cut my hair. I could have cosplayed as Wolverine, but that's okay. I did like the fact that there was a lot of Octopath Travelers like fans still, surprisingly. Like I literally had even people who already like bought Octopath stuff from me literally came back to just tell me like how much they enjoy the game and how much they love my stuff. And even a guy even came back is like, okay, between the time that I saw you last time and now I finished Octopath Traveler 2, and he basically just spent like 5 minutes gushing about it to me, so that was fun. I love it when people do that. But yeah, other than that, let's go day 2. I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully I will not lose my badge again. And things go well. Bye! See you later. Good morning! Day 2 of Anime Nord. I am here early once again because I think there is a saying that's basically just like, if you're early, you're on time. So I'm like here at like what, 8:30? Opens at like 10. But I like having this time to just take a look around and also see some of my friends' tables because I didn't get a chance to really look around yesterday because it was so busy. So I'm going to do that now. Also, it might be a bit sunnier today, as you can probably tell. It's a little bit brighter, but I think it's mostly still going to be overcast, so it's not going to be any warmer than it is now. So, but I'm going to be walking in, and hopefully day 2 is good. Okay, I'm actually going to go check my table first because I only slept like maybe 5 hours at most. And a lot of it was because I was a bit stressed and anxious. That's normal usually for cons because obviously when you're leaving your stuff here, there's always that fear that someone's just gonna take it when you're not looking or when you're not even there. So I just wanna ease my anxiety a little bit by checking it first. And then I'm gonna get my change and then do what else I need to do. As you can see, there's always like right behind me. All the tables are covered up because we're closing. So I'll try my best to do a walkthrough of, you know, Artist Alley when people's stuff is open. But when it's also not too crowded, because I also don't want to look around when it's too crowded, because it's going to be me trying to navigate through the crowd. And if you hear that little clanking noises, I have a bunch of charms on my fanny pack, so that people can hear me coming. Okay, let's see. It's pretty... Yep, all my stuff looks like it's there. That's awesome. Okay. Fear has been vanquished. Now I'm just gonna... Well, I'm gonna take the cover off in a bit, but I'm gonna get my change first. You're not gonna guess what I found as I'm getting ready to restock some stuff and organize some stuff. My original badge. Are you kidding me? I thought I looked everywhere. Why is that? Literally, anytime that you lost something, you're like, okay, well, I clearly looked everywhere and I can't find it. And literally, the moment you're not even looking for it. So I'm gonna ask if I can get a refund because I can return this because I have this now. Oh my god, I'm so. God, even though day 2 ended earlier than yesterday, I spent so much time just reorganizing my stuff and getting what I need for tomorrow because in the middle of the day I was running out of stuff to pack stuff in, so I had to ask other people for bags that I could use. And amongst other things, I have to bring a lot more sleeves as well because I didn't realize people were buying prints. Surprisingly, I always find that prints for me aren't my best sellers. Usually it's my keychains and other trinkets that are more popular for people. So I tend to not bring a lot of sleeves at all. So I'm very surprised I have to bring quite a few sleeves each day. But I mean, I'm happy. It means my luggage is going to be a little bit lighter. But yeah, even though it didn't take that long to reorganize everything. I literally just spent like the next 10 minutes just like staring off into space being like, I don't want to prop up my selfie stick and do this vlog. I'm so tired, but I'm gonna push through it. I know it's not I know like I shouldn't force myself to, but at the same time it's one of those things where it's kind of like for people who vlog regularly, I imagine it takes a lot of motivation to do this daily, and I don't know how they bring themselves to do it every day, but I imagine it requires a lot of discipline. And you know, for stuff like this, I also need to have some discipline as well, even if it is tiring. It is part of, you know, this line of work, even if it is casual. Like, I don't expect to get anything out of this in terms of monetary. This is more of just something I can look back on and reflect on where I've been. When you get into, you know, making art, and you know, sometimes you get a point where when you spend so much time posting art on the internet, you do fall into this mindset of feeling like your art's worth is validated and based on what people on the internet think. And you'd be surprised when you get into like making merch and actually selling in person, the validation, the appreciation you get from people in person means so much more than and overrides any negativity that you may experience online. Obviously the praise and appreciation you get online also matters, but it just goes to show just how, you know, tangible people's praise and appreciation feels in person. And I think it's something that I think everyone should experience at least once in their life, because I feel like that also really helps keep you grounded and keep you reassured that just because things online might not be looking, you know, well for you, it could be a completely different story in person. So that's where I'm really fortunate and also very happy that I can even do stuff like this. Obviously, getting to content, unfortunately, getting harder and harder, so who's to say that this is even sustainable at all? And who knows, maybe next year I might not get into any cons at all. So this is something that I have to really cherish and not take for granted, because this is also an opportunity that the other artists want, not just people who have been doing this for years, but also artists who are just starting out. And with things getting more competitive, it's going to be even more harder for even the veterans to even get into the shows that they've been getting it for years. And it's kind of sad to think about, but that's just how, you know, industry changes. And, you know, with all the stuff about, you know, things going on in the world and AI and all that stuff. But I'm not here to talk about that. That's just, I don't want to get lost in that because it's not what I want to focus on. So, on to the positives. So, let's see. It was funny, in contrast to yesterday where I was like, oh yeah, there was like a lot of Karo Gunso enjoys. I didn't sell a single one today. Except for one person, that was my friend I mentioned earlier. She actually came by to buy a whole set. I mentioned that she would probably come by and at least get Gyro because that's her favorite. Yeah, so the bestseller, unsurprisingly, is Sifrin from In Stars and Time. It's the first time I had to buy, or it was the first time I brought 20 plus of anything. And the fact that I only have one of them left before even the final day is kind of crazy to me. Sometimes it can be a little like iffy when it comes to making merch because obviously it's hard to find that balance between making merch that you think is gonna sell and that could possibly be popular, and then making merch that you actually want to make. So it's always it's sometimes it's hard to find that balance because you might think that, oh, I'll just make merch for something that's popular and it's guaranteed sales. But the thing is that, you know, when a lot of artists are drawing the same things with the same fandoms, it gets oversaturated a lot in a lot of artist spaces. So it's actually not always the best advice to follow, and it's something that I tend not to follow at all. For me personally, like all the things I've been making lately have all been pretty well past their prime, I would say. I tend to lean towards making merch for stuff that has, you know, niche followings but are very passionate, because those are the fans that you tend to those are the fans I tend to connect with more, just because I feel like throughout my life I've always enjoyed a lot of stuff that not a lot of people know about but have really passionate fans. So yeah, sometimes making merch for more popular stuff isn't always the best because you're competing with a lot of other artists who are doing the same thing. And especially if we're talking about like franchises like, you know, Honkai Star Rail, Endless Zero Zone, whatever that game is called, any Hoyoverse game, you're gonna have a lot of artists who, I always find that series like that, there's always gonna be like god tier artists like making merch, and that's kind of like what you're up against. And not to like be competitive about it, but just being realistically, like when you're in the same sphere as those artists, it can become overwhelming very quickly and intimidating, which is why I tend to like not do very big mainstream stuff, because I get intimidated very easily and I will not be afraid to admit when I feel like I'm not good enough. Because I think every artist has that moment, has that feeling of insecurity. Like, I know, like, deep down, I don't want to see other artists as, like, competitors. Because that's a really tricky slope to, you know, confront and go down. Because I firmly believe that jealousy is one of the biggest factors into why so many conflicts happen in the first place. It's because people don't understand how to cope with that feeling of jealousy or envy in ways that are healthy. So that's why I try not to be too competitive or let those feelings kind of like shroud my worth as an artist, because every artist, no matter what skill or background or experience that they have, everyone is on their individual journey, and everyone's is going to be at different points in their journey. So yes, you can say that certain artists are quote unquote better than you, but you have to realize that they're very much on their own journey, and they're not seeing their own journey as being like, oh yeah, I'm on this journey to be the very best and to rise above the rest. Most of these artists are just drawing just because that's what they love, and that is where their art is taking them. So in thinking that, I try not to see artists as competitors, but just as peers, because when you look deep down, we all started from the same place, and I like to think that we are all on equal footing. I like to think people who draw and do what they love aren't doing it out of spite or out of, you know, trying to be better than anyone. And let me tell you, I've met people who are like that, and it is awful. Oh yeah, I'm really bad at counting. So I obviously keep a tally of like my stock levels for everything, and I check off whatever is being sold. So originally I thought I was sold out of Ike from Fire Emblem. And I was like, yay, I'm sold out of Ike! And I went to look through my Fire Emblem charms because I wanted to restock a few characters. And guess what? I found like 5 more charms of him. I am so good at counting. I don't know how the heck I missed 5 of him, but hey, at least I got more from the sell because clearly he's popular. Well, yeah, something else that happened to that I found very interesting was I found a lot of my regular customers came by like multiple times to my table, which I was very flattered about. I always assume that when you come back to my table, I'm going to assume that you either forgot something or I don't know why my mind goes there, but it's just one of those things where it's kind of like, oh my god, you like me so much, you like my stuff so much, you want to buy more? Like, that's not like what my mind goes to, just because I think some people just have that mindset of like, oh, people like my stuff, oh, thank you very much, you know, very like humble. And like, even though I've been doing this for a few years, I'm still kind of like in that headspace just because I can't help it. I don't want to get too into it. You know, this is not psychology. I'm not gonna trauma dump, but I'm just gonna say, like, there's been a lot of cases in my life where I feel very much just average. So to know that there are people who really love and support my work, it means everything to me. But it still catches me off guard because it's like, oh, I'm like looked up to. But yeah, I will end it there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the final day at Anime North. And I'll try to take more photos of cosplayers because I'm still really awkward about that, and I want to get better at overcoming that fear of just asking, because I think most cosplayers are completely fine with being asked for a photo, unless like they've been stopped like 20 times. In that case, I'll feel so bad. But you know what? As long as you're nice about it, you know, I'm sure they're fine with it. But yeah, that's gonna be one of my goals for tomorrow. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for the last day of Anime North! Good morning! It is the final day of Anime North! And look at the weather. It is shining. It is clear blue skies. It's such a nice day today, even though it is still kind of cold, but it's okay. The sun is shining. It's actually really, really nice, which is a nice way to end off Anime North, I think. Although I did hear on the radio on my way here that there might be thunderstorms in the afternoon in some parts of the city, which is a little, you really can't tell from like how nice it is outside, but hopefully the thunderstorms aren't going to be in our area. But you know, I hope maybe this sunny day is short-lived, but let's hope it persists until the end of the day. Let's see. Well, yeah, I'm like struggling because I'm like holding 2 water bottles in my arms right now because your girl is not hydrating enough. And the thing with sometimes with tabling at Artist Alley is that if you're someone who has a car, and obviously you can bring your own luggage and merch yourself, you don't really have to worry about how much to bring because it's kind of like, oh well, I have, you know, a vehicle to carry everything in. But if you're like me and you're kind of like, you don't know how to drive, you don't have a car, obviously to be a little bit more mindful of how much to bring. So even something like water can weigh down your stuff quite a bit. So sometimes water is something I end up not bringing too much of. Even though you should always bring water to stay hydrated. Anyway, it looks like doors aren't open yet, so probably just gonna hang outside and wait till it is. Oh no, a little too early, I guess. Oh well, but that is just life. I'm sure they'll come around in a bit.
didn't get really a chance to do an intro because I literally had only 5 minutes left to do a quick walk around with the artist alley. So I only got a chance to really look around, do a quick circle around artist alley because I literally had 10 minutes left before the doors opened. So I sorry I didn't go through any of the aisles. I literally was on a crunch time. Plus I also need to use the washroom, so I wanted to use the washroom before things got really busy and I had to wait in the line for the washrooms, and I don't want to do that. Also, I find it really funny when people just come by to give me random stuff. They don't even say who they are, they'll just come by and just give me something. Like someone just, I think another vendor or an artist just came by and just gave me this really funny Spamton sticker. Hopefully more things will sell out so I don't have to bring so much stuff home, and it's gonna be easier to carry my luggage. So let's just hope how day 3 ends up turning out. Treat yourself. I wanted to get a bigger shortcake, but I decided against it because I'm like, I ate a big dinner, got myself a little treat, so I want to enjoy that when I get home because it's going to be unpacking time. Well, a little bit of unpacking. I'm going to keep my stuff mostly packed up because I have YetiCon in like 3 weeks, so most of it's just going to already be in my suitcase. Oh my god. I'm so tired, but we gotta unpack because I had to prepare for YetiCon in just 3 weeks, so apologies I look not great, but I slept for maybe 12 hours. Well, it was more like maybe 8, and then I was up for 3 hours, and then I fell asleep for another 3. And I'm really tired after eating. I went out to do my post-con meal. So I'm gonna do this a little bit differently. I'm not gonna just sit here staring at a camera and ramble, but I'm gonna be unpacking in the process and just talking throughout. So let's start. Where do we begin? Whoops, I took it the wrong way. So where do we begin? So I will say, just to acknowledge the alleged elephant in the room as a tabling artist. You know, sometimes some years are peaceful, you don't really hear about anything weird happening. But for some reason, this year was a little interesting in that I heard some things happening to certain artists. I don't really want to elaborate because, to be frank, I don't know all the facts and I don't want to spread any misinformation. So I'm just gonna comment that this is the first time I've heard of so many instances happening. I've been tabling at Anime North for the past 4 years, and I've never heard anything in terms of people getting kicked out or anything like that. But this year, I think there was maybe in total 4 or 5 artists that got kicked out, which is a lot if we're jumping from not really hearing much at all, and then suddenly 5 people got kicked out. Again, don't know the details of it, and I'm not gonna assume anything. But anyway, on the plus note, I don't like the fact that this lighting makes me look orange. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing. So I think obviously the best seller of Anime North is hands down, it has to be Sifrin, which is not surprising at all. And even then, by the end of it, Mirabelle and Oziel also sold out. There's only one more Bonnie left, and since I bought more of Isabeau, I still have about 6 of him left. So thankfully, I don't think I had to restock him for YetiCon. Though I might still have to place a little bit more because given that there's also a Canada Post and DHL strike coming up, I'm going to be very limited in which couriers I can
rely on for getting the stuff to me on time. So I might have to order extra stuff just to accommodate all the cons that I have, because I have YetiCon in June, I have 3 in July. Well, 2 of them are smaller events, so I'm not too worried about having enough stuff for those 2 events, because they're a little bit more relaxed and chill. I don't expect to make crazy money there. But one con I'm very excited and curious about is going to be Icon. It's going to be my first time at that con. It's going to be my first time in Winnipeg in general. So it's going to be interesting. And I don't know what the audience there is like, because I feel like when it comes to bigger cons in Toronto, obviously you're dealing with much higher attendance numbers. Whereas I hear in Manitoba and Alberta, their numbers tend to be more on the 10,000s. Like, for reference, Anime North's attendance is usually around 30,000. And Montreal, even though Montreal, the attendance is around 30,000 as well. But the interesting thing, as you might have seen in my first Otakuthon vlog, was I didn't make as much as I did at Anime North. I would say maybe like less than half. So, but like that's just how certain things work. Like, there's so many factors that go into tabling. Like, you don't know what the demographic is like. People might have different buying habits in certain places, so that's something you can't really, have too high expectations for. But something that I found interesting was that my friend also did Animathon right after Otakuthon last year. And Animathon is in Edmonton, if I recall. And she said she made about the same as Otakuthon, maybe a bit more, even though Animathon has maybe half of the attendance numbers. So I found that very, very interesting. So it just goes to show that even though there are cons with really high attendance numbers, it doesn't always translate to sales, especially when you consider that, places that maybe there aren't as big cities like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal. You're gonna have like probably more concentration of fans who want to buy merch and want to buy locally. So that's probably why the numbers are the way they are. Again, that's just from one example. So it's not like a universal number, but that's just something that I'm considering, and whether or not I need to bring more to Animathon than I think I need. But again, this is the mistake I made for Otakuthon. That's what I thought, and I ended up bringing way too much, and I don't want that to happen again. And especially since we're going to be flying to Winnipeg, I obviously can't overstock too much stuff because I don't want to go over the weight limit for my luggage. So I'm just going to have to trust the numbers that I have in my head currently, that they're going to be enough. Okay, displays are all cleaned up with sold out signs. Great that they've been put away, set aside, because they're already basically ready. Didn't really have to do much, so thankfully that didn't have to take too long. But now my favorite part. Ugh. My charm box. Look at the state of it. Look how messy everything is. Look, even the dividers are like coming off. It's like my least favorite thing to do, because it's like things all mixed up and all these signs are coming off. Ooh. Honestly, I'm already missing Anime North already. I think that's every con though. You go to con, you have all this energy, and even though you're like so tired by the end of it, after you rest up, you're like, oh man, that was so much fun. Now I'm gonna miss. I can't wait for next year so I can do it all over again. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now, because especially this year, I met so many new artists. I made so many more friends. I think the sad thing is that when it comes to tabling, more often than not, you don't really have time to really look around and really spend as much time as you can talking to other artists. So there's actually quite a few artists I didn't get a chance to visit, which I feel bad about. I did manage to talk to quite a few artists, the ones that I've been talking to with on Discord. One artist I was very, very excited to meet. I actually didn't know she was an artist. But basically, in 2021 at Fan Expo, I met this really, really cute Noelle cosplayer. And the funniest thing is that she had a Suzy Ita bag, and it was the funniest thing ever. The fact that she was cosplaying as Noelle made it so much better. I'm like, oh my god, that's so in character. And it's funny because like after seeing her at Fan Expo then, I ended up seeing her again at other cons afterwards. So it was always such a treat seeing her, because I was like, oh, like, what is she still gonna be cosplaying as Noelle? Maybe she'll cosplay as like Noelle in the Dark World, and she ended up doing that as well. I remember, I don't know if it was last year yet. It was maybe like 2 years ago where I did see her again, and she was cosplayed as Noelle in the Dark World. And then she every time she came to visit, she would always show me her Susie bag, because she was basically adding more stuff to it, so I can literally see the Susie bag as it was evolving. And then this year I found out she was an artist, because she posted her catalog in the Anime North Discord, and then her stuff was really cute because she did a lot of indie stuff, and I'm like, oh, I like indie games. You have like RPG Maker games, you got Eve, you got Deltarune, Undertale, you even have some In Stars and Time stuff. I'm gonna come by and see your stuff because I really like all the stuff that you've made. And then she was like, oh, Jules, I'm so excited to meet you. I was the Noelle cosplayer that you've met all those years, and I'm like, that's you? I didn't know you were an artist. What the hell? So I had to make sure to visit her, because it was like the first time seeing her as an artist, and she was still cosplaying as Noelle. It was so cute, and I was like very, very happy to see her. I really wanted to actually like buy more of her stuff, but I really didn't have time, because I literally visited her while the con was going on. There was maybe like an hour left, so I didn't want to keep her from, the people that were waiting to buy stuff from her. Everyone goes home, and we all are posting like our gifts and stuff, our hauls that we got from other artists on Instagram. She commented on my story because of my artist haul that I got from people, and then she wrote something very, very sweet. She was basically saying, I'm one of her biggest Artist Alley inspirations, which is that's something that I sometimes I feel like I'm a little starstruck when I hear stuff like that, just because not to get into like some depressing shit once more, but I feel like I've always been someone who's very average, who doesn't really stand out. And it wasn't until I got really confident in my art, or more confident in my art in 2018, that I started to actually become more social, more like outgoing, I would say. Because I know for me, I was in a very, very depressing headspace about my art leading up to 2018. I think every artist goes through stuff like that every so often, but it felt more apparent then. And it wasn't until I started making merch and actually, really, really, really doing my best to like make something that people would want to buy, that I started to realize the potential I had based on what people are saying. And it's validating to hear when people really like your stuff and want to buy it. So that really gave me the boost and confidence to really go for it. Because I've made merch I've made and sold merch before online prior to tabling, so I've already had that experience. But tabling was a very much a distant dream that I wanted to achieve one day, and knowing that I've tabled at so many events, quite a few events now, and I am living that dream, every day I always am very thankful that I've had the opportunities, and also to have made the friends that I have along the way, because the thing with tabling, at least nowadays, is that it's very hard to get into now, especially if you don't know anyone, because people are relying on tabling with their friends and people they know to get into cons, which is why, that's why like a lot of people will buddy up, and I guess you could say that's a double-edged sword, especially if you're someone who wants to get into tabling at Artist Alley, but you may not know anyone, you may not have any friends, so it's going to be a little bit harder for you. So that's why I always encourage people. It's like, even if you're just an attendee, and even if you haven't tabled before, the artists there are very much excited and would be really happy if you took a moment to actually chat with them a bit. Not saying to take up too much of their time, but you'd be surprised at what networking and chatting with other artists can do for your chances at getting into tabling, because it really does help, and it also gives you perspective and ideas of whether or not this is something that you actually want to do. Because I know for me personally, I'm always very open about the process, like what's required, like what do I need to table at Artist Alley, and I always like encouraging artists who are maybe hesitant, maybe they feel like they don't have enough stuff, or maybe they feel like they're not good enough. But I say you lose the shots you don't take. So even if things are looking uncertain and you may feel like you're not good enough for something, it's always good to just try it anyway, because you don't, it's cheesy to say, but you truly don't know until you try. But I definitely encourage people to constantly, just talk to artists and reply to stuff, and try to make friends with people. I know that's easier said than done, especially coming from me, because I wouldn't say I'm necessarily an extrovert per se. I wouldn't call myself an introvert either. I think I'm maybe leaning more towards extrovert. Like if you were to put introvert, extrovert on a scale, I would say I lean more towards being an extrovert. But I think a lot of people would agree that we all have moments where we're going to be more outgoing, especially in settings and environments where we can truly thrive. Like if you were to put me in like a corporate blue collar type of situation, you're probably not even gonna even know I'm in the room. That's because I'm just not gonna, it's gonna be very hard for me to come out of my shell. Whereas with like Artist Alley and like cons, like I'm very, very talkative. Like I will talk your ear off. I will like go out of my way to approach anyone. Like literally, while I was waiting for doors to open on Sunday, because I was there kind of early, there was already 2 artists that were there, and it was actually their first time tabling, and they told me that they had a they sold like fine jewelry, and I don't know what compelled me to talk, but maybe it's just like I'm just the type of person that just likes to make conversation. But like I literally went on my way to like actually like chat them up, ask them how they were doing, how they were feeling, to hype them up for the last day, especially since this was their first time tabling, and things like that. Like that's something that I am not afraid to do, because I like hearing about what other people are experiencing, and I really like hearing about what's going well, what isn't going well, and like encouraging them in whatever way I can, because a lot of like the things that we go through as artists, it keeps us, it makes us feel like we're actually a lot more similar than we may have thought. So that's something that I like, I like getting that perspective, because I want to be able to be there to support my fellow artists, especially in this field when I first tabled, and I was like, when I was so lost, confused, if I even had what it takes to do this kind of thing. But then, the more you do it, the more you talk, the more that you relate to other people, the more that you come out of your shell, you start to realize that we're all here for the same reasons, and we just want to have fun, do our best. I think the thing I really like about ever since I started tabling, I feel like I've had more friends than I've had ever in my life. And like, I'm not, like, and I might sound kind of like sad or whatever, but I always feel like, because growing up throughout my life, I had to move quite a few times. Like when I was 5 years old, we had to move, and had to move away from like the childhood friends I've only known. And then we had to move again when I was in grade 4, I think. And then after I finished middle school, we had to move again. So as you can probably tell, that I've never really stuck around long enough to really kept in touch with so many people, so many of the classmates that I've befriended during those years. It wasn't until I finished high school and started college and all that I've maintained some sort of a social life. But even in like college, I don't think I've made many friends. Like I definitely had friends during that time, but if you ask me if I still keep in touch with them, I would say I only keep in touch with one. And that's because they were kind of like the same as me, in that we like really like nerdy stuff, and we table at cons. Though they table more at like furry cons and stuff like that, so I don't really see them I don't think I've ever tabled at the same event as them, but they have visited me at the cons I've been tabling at before, so that's something that I've always appreciated. But it always makes me happy that I can like extend my friend group because I really do like being social. I like being included in, you know, get-togethers and hangouts because I feel like my parents are a little protective. I mean, but it's just Asian parents. I feel like every Asian parent is protective. But I feel like I didn't have as many opportunities to hang out with people outside of school because my parents, you know, they gave me kind of a strict curfew and things like that. So I never really got to hang out like after hours, like in the evening. I think the latest I was ever allowed to stay out was like 6 o'clock. But now that I'm an adult, and I can technically do what I want. It feels nice to be invited so often to, you know, hangouts and stuff like that. It's just nice to be included and to be thought of and to be invited to things. Because it means that people care. That feels so, like, it's just so depressing to say. It's because, like, yeah, that's what friends do. Friends care about each other and hang out with each other. I did eventually end up seeing the Prodigio cosplayer. Basically what happened, I was just doing my thing. I was at my table, writing in my notebook, organizing my stuff. I look up, and I just see the top of his hat in the crowd, walking through my aisle. He was nowhere near my table, but I could see him. I literally jumped out of my chair. I probably startled my table partner because I probably gasped at the same time. Like I was just like, and I just like jumped out of my chair and just like ran. And then when I caught up with him, I did a probably not so great gamer poof where I either said something really stupid and or really weird, like something like, "Oh hey, I finally found you," and he gives me a confused look, and when I tell you, my brain was screaming at me like, fuck, abort. Why the fuck would you say that? You're fucking weirding him out. What the hell is wrong with you? And then I was just like, cause he had my Prodigio keychain hanging from his lanyard, and I was just like, yeah, I'm the artist who drew that. And I think like he was still confused, and I'm like, dude, socialize like a normal person. So I decided, I did my best to try to save it. I was basically like, can we take a photo at my table? It's just right over there. So I lead him to my table, and thankfully, oh my god, thankfully, I think he put two and two together once he saw my stuff. And then it finally like dawned on him that he was actually I was one of the artists he had bought so much Octopath stuff from the previous year. And then he got really like happy and excited because he was just like, "Oh my god, I was actually looking for you. I'm so glad that I was able to find your table again because I wanted to potentially buy more stuff and maybe say hi." And I was just like, "Okay, thank God he finally figured it out." And I probably didn't do a good job of like being very clear that I was the artist he was looking for because I was being fucking weird about it. But I'm very glad that he eventually figured it out, and he was even like gushing to his friend that he's like, "Oh yeah, I have so much of her stuff. She's such a great artist. Like I bought so many things from her last year." And just hearing that, I was just like, "Okay, thank God I didn't like completely fuck that up." And he ended up buying more stuff, and he was in character. He was putting on an accent. He was putting on a southern accent. He was even telling me that he's a bit southern himself. And then he ended up buying a lot more stuff. He ended up buying the big Octopath print that I have. He ended up buying my Octopath tote bag. He ended up buying my Sandy as well. And then I gave him my Prodigio outfit changing charm for him as a bonus, just because I wanted to. Like that was something I wanted to do. And then yeah, he went on his way. But I was like very ecstatic and happy. I was just like, okay, that's. My anime note is made. I don't care how Sunday goes. Same thing as a talkathon. If I see Octopath cosplayers, I don't care how well or how bad I'm doing at a con. If I see an Octopath cosplayer, I'm happy. I have no standards. Oh, just in case, because as you know, I have a little thing that my friend Tuna or Eel Beats made. It's like a Prodigio Tsum Tsum. if you are the Particio cosplayer that came by to my table, and you're gonna be another con, you don't have to be cosplay as Particio, obviously. Come by to my table because I have a little party tsum tsum for you on behalf of my friend. And no, you don't have to pay. She was just like, no, just give it to him. I'm like, okay, cool. But yeah, on Sunday there was actually a really, really good Luke cosplayer. I was like, I feel like out of all the characters to cosplay, I feel like it's Luke that I feel like requires a little bit of a lot more creativity. But oh man, they pulled it off so well. I'm gonna post a photo of them. I feel bad because I really should make a Luke keychain as well. It's funny because the way I had my display, basically I had all the main 5, and then I had an empty space, and then I had my Doremi keychains. So I actually had quite a few people ask me if the empty space was for Luke, if they were there, and I'm like, oh no, that's just to help create a divider between my different keychains. But I do want to make a Luke keychain at some point. Maybe I'll have one ready by YetiCon. I do hope my Tamagotchi, like gummy cell phone charms do well at some point, because I do like making smaller keychains like that. Maybe I need to make more designs like that, because not only are they cheaper to make, but they're also easier to carry around because they don't take much, they don't weigh that much. Let's see, my other bestsellers. Okay, I will say the keychains that I did not sell at all, because I have a few sets of keychains for different series, games, and anime, and the one it's probably my fault. I think this is like you know, I missed the mark on this one, but the one set of keychains that literally no one sold at all is Zombieland Saga, which is kind of sad because I really like the anime, but I guess it's not really well known. I guess a lot of people didn't watch it, or even if people did watch it, people didn't like it enough to want merch of it. So that's a mistake on my part. So maybe I'm contemplating whether or not to even bring them to Icon at all. Well, maybe I'll bring them, but I'll only bring like literally 2 of each character just in case. But because I don't want to, I'd rather bring more of other things than the one that's not selling, right? But yeah, another thing I'm surprised by that sold really well was my Hamtaro Ham and Heartbreak standees, because I originally bought those last year in preparation for Otakuthon, and I think I only sold like 2 there. But for Anime North for this year, I sold like 7, so I'm very happy about that. Especially since it's a multi-piece standee, and those tend to take up a lot of weight, so hopefully I don't have to bring too much for YetiCon, Icon, etc. I know for sure I'm not going to bring many for Otakuthon. Another bestseller is my Mamo Shaker Charm. Not surprised by that. That one I've always known to be a bestseller. It's been a bestseller at all my cons so far, ever since I debuted it. My Persona 3 lanyards did really well. I'm not surprised by that. I feel like my Persona lanyards are doing pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. Persona 4 isn't selling as well as the other 2, Persona 3, Persona 5, but I guess that's not really surprising. Though it might go up if the rumors of the Persona 4 remake are true. Why does that game need so many remakes? I don't know. Oh, another thing I'm really surprised about, my prints. But in general, I also need to retire some of those designs because I've had some of those designs for a few years now. It's time to change it up. Well, yeah, I'm happy that my Octopath Traveler tote bag is doing okay. I bought 5 and sold 5. Oh, no, sorry, I bought 10 and sold 5. There we go. I'm really surprised that that's doing well because tote bags are one of those things where it's like, they also take up they don't weigh as much, but they take up a lot of room. And of course, I still have not sold a single Denmeshi one, which is kind of sad because I remember when I first designed that, I was like, oh, I kind of want to design it as if it's like a screen print type tote bag, but it's not doing so hot. It's not really moving. So thankfully at Icon, what's gonna be really cool about Icon is that Damien Haas and Prozidi are gonna be there, Laios and Senshi. So I'm planning on giving them each a Denmeshi tote bag as a gift. So I mean, I'd rather it go to someone than to just be sitting in a box forever. Oh yeah, another thing I'm happy that's selling, even though I'm kind of like, it's a little weird right now, but I made the Infinity Nikki like outfit changing charms. I was really proud about how I made that, and I remember when I posted it on Reddit, a lot of people were really excited and were like very impressed by the design of it, and it was very flattered. I was very happy that they design, it worked, and people were like, "Well, that's so cool, that's so creative." But given that there's currently a boycott going on because of the update, I haven't played the update myself because I've been so busy, but the things I've heard and the things I've seen in terms of like all the story retconning, the rates that are worse, it's buggier, things like that. I'm wondering if people are even passionate about Infinity Nikki more, which makes me feel kind of like, oh, this kind of sucks, because now that people are having a lot of issues with it, obviously, like, I'm not saying like, oh no, I won't go to spend money on my stuff anymore. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say. Basically, it's just like unfortunate timing. Like, I put all this thought and time and money into making a cool design for something that people are clearly like very impressed and excited about, and only to have the game end up turning the way it is. And it's just kind of like, oh man. Yeah, my Pokemon Scarlet and Violet keychains aren't doing so high anymore either, so I am slowly retiring those. I remember when I first had them available, Rika was really popular. I think I usually always get like 5 or 7 Rika sold at each con I have, but now she only sold 2 Anime North. And let's see. Oh, my Karo Gunso charms also. I would say the best. Friday was when they really shone, because that's when people bought them the most. But yeah, all the numbers, everything else seems to be pretty like consistent across my other cons. Like Fire Emblem still does pretty good. Oh, I'm sad that my Pit Wing Charm didn't sell. But I was planning on phasing out the Deltarune and Pokemon designs because I want to redo the designs and update them to something else to accommodate all the new content that's coming up for Chapter 3 and 4. And to also bring in new stuff, because I feel like I've had these charms since the first time I tabled at AN, and I feel like everyone who has been to AN and has seen me at each AN are probably sick of these designs. So I wanna change things up a bit. Oh yeah, I'm happy that my Persona standees are doing pretty okay as well. Persona 3 is winning still. And I think people are more a fan of the holographic version of them than the clear one. The reason why I ordered the clear one was because I also wanted to see what it looked like without the holographic effect. But also because since the menu I ordered for the holo versions, they were taking a bit too long with our proofs, and I got really worried that we wouldn't get our order on time, so that's why I placed an order for the clear ones at a different manufacturer who I know was a bit faster, just in case that they wouldn't arrive on time. But they eventually did, so that's why I had those options available for anyone who wanted to see both versions. So I gave away my Sifren Manju. So wait, I'll just like tell you. So you know this thing, this thing. Like I made like 3 of them to test. And I ended up giving one to my friend, Kipi, because she's a really big ISAF fan. And then she's been sending really funny like photos of like Sifren Ball in really weird situations. It's actually so funny. And it also made something else as well, ISAF related. I couldn't sell it at the event because it has the IP name on it. Usually for cons, you're not allowed to put any signage or sell any merch that has character names or the name of the series or anime or whatever, because now that so many people are making fan merch and stuff like that, IP holders are getting more protective about what they're allowing. Yeah, I didn't post a video of this because I wanted to have it made first, but I made the shaker charm because this friend's whole thing is that he kind of sees the things that are happening to him as kind of like a theater, as like a performance. So I thought it'd be really cool to make kind of like a puppet show type of keychain, and then his friends are literally the shakers, so the shaker charm. I really like. I think this is a really fun idea, and I did give away some of this to a few friends. I also gave them one away to a regular customer who's been buying stuff from me at cons for quite a few years now, and once I found out they were a big fan of ISAT, I'm like, you know what? As a bonus and as a little gift for supporting me all these years, I want to give you one. Oh, I was away for all the weekend, so I didn't get to stay home much, and spend time with my little guy. Oh, don't bite my glasses. Alright, so I'm pretty much all sort of packed up for YetiCon. I do still need a place to restock for stuff, but that's something that future me will worry about. So I'm honestly getting really tired now. I thought those 13 hours of sleep was enough, but no, I'm feeling really tired, and it's only like, I think it's like 5-6 o'clock, and I already want to take a nap. It's like too late to take a nap, but I might like get some shut-eye because I can't keep my eyes open for any longer. So I'm just gonna quickly go through the things that I've got. I'm just gonna flash it on screen, including the credits and stuff like that for all the stuff that I got. Because as much as I want to talk about each and every wonderful thing I got, I think I made that clear on Instagram, so hopefully that's enough. I'll also just like mention that we also did a Persona stamp rally, which was really, really fun to host, and like the person who organized and hosted it did an incredible job with the design. Oh my gosh, she said that it was the first time she organized and hosted a rally. And like, I wouldn't have guessed it based on like how she designed the card, because it's so good. Like, she made a whole illustration of Igor just for the stamp rally. And like, look how nice it's designed too. All the spaces for all of our stamps. And like, even the back looks great. Like, there's the map, you have everyone's like table numbers and what their questions were, and even like a thumbnail of what the sticker sheet looks like. And like, she even made like a whole website for the stamp rally so people can like see like any additional information. It also includes our socials. Like this is an incredibly designed stamp card, and like, honestly, I kind of want to hang it up. Even though it's not filled in, I do kind of wish I had the time to ask everyone participating if they could stamp it so I can then hang it up, but I'm definitely keeping this because this is way too nice of a stamp card throwaway. But yeah, I think that's gonna end off, or maybe I might do a better like outro about Anime North later, but right now I need to take a nap because my brain not working anymore.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I'm going to end this video off by giving a big thank you to Emily, who is part of the AN organizers. I believe she's part of the people in charge of panels, or she's the one running panels, whichever one it is. But she is the one who approached me to make some assets for Anime North's guidebook. So if you notice any chippies in the guidebook, but also in person around the convention space, those were drawn by me, and I was paid to do it, so it was very cool to be approached for this opportunity. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this in terms of like having my own art on something kind of official, pretty much. I was very, very flattered to do it, and I'm still kind of starstruck, and it felt very surreal seeing my art around the convention space, not just in the guidebook. I didn't see every iteration of how my art was used because only some were used in the guidebook and the others were used elsewhere, so I didn't get to see how they were all used. But either way, seeing all my art used in the convention space was very, very cool, and I'm very appreciative for that opportunity, and I want to say thank you so much, Emily, for trusting me and vouching for me for that opportunity. So thank you so much. And of course, thank you so much to everyone who came out to buy something from me or just to say hi, anyone who's visiting. I'm sorry to the people who may have realized that they might have missed my table and a lot of other artist tables because we were in the Shadow Realm. I'm really sorry that you guys didn't get a chance to check out our booths or even buy anything from us. Hopefully you'll catch us at other events. My next event is going to be YetiCon, which is in a few weeks. So if you're going to be going there, I'm going to be there as well. I'm going to have pretty much everything I've had at YetiCon as well. I'm hoping to anyway. I'm unsure whether my iSack keychains will arrive on time, but I'm really hoping they do. And if you aren't going to be at YetiCon, my convention schedule is on my card and my website. So if you want to see what other events I'm going to in Canada, you can check there. I'm only going to be tabling at Canadian cons this year. I did want to make getting into a US con a goal for this year, but not only did I not get into any, but given the whole situation with, the global situation right now with going to the US is a little weird right now, so better play it safe than to be sorry later. But yeah, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much for watching. my next video is probably going to either be my Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 videos or my YetiCon vlog. So, hopefully I'll see you there. Bye!